stop what you're doing, just for a moment. Because this isn't just another video, it's a mirror, one that might show you something about yourself you've felt your whole life, but never had the words to explain. Have you ever looked around at your life, your family, your struggles, your scars, and thought, this feels too precise to be random, as if your entire story was written in invisible ink long before you were born? There's a reason some people feel haunted by a sense of purpose they can't quite grasp. Why certain places feel familiar the first time you visit. Why certain people feel like old friends or ancient enemies. And why your hardest experiences sometimes feel strangely necessary. These aren't accidents. They're echoes of something deeper, a decision made by your soul before it ever took its first breath. You see, long before your name was ever spoken on earth, your soul made a promise, not just one, but many. A sacred agreement carved in light, not ink. And then it was forgotten. But here's the twist. That forgetting wasn't a mistake. It was part of the deal. In this video, we're going to explore what that forgotten contract was, who helped you write it, and why remembering it could change not only how you see your past, but how you live every moment that's still ahead. Because if even a small part of you has always felt like there was more to why you're here, more to the pain you've endured, more to the fire inside you that won't go out, then you're not just watching this by chance. You're remembering, and your soul has been waiting for this moment. They don't teach you this in school, not in church, not in the culture that raised you, but before you were born, before your first heartbeat, you signed a contract. No, not with a pen, not on paper, but with intention, with vision, with truth. And the strangest part, you were completely aware of what you were doing. This agreement wasn't forced on you. It wasn't handed down by some cosmic ruler. It was created by you, and it was beautiful. You sat in a place beyond time, a realm without clocks or calendars, but pulsing with wisdom, clarity, and an overwhelming sense of love. There, your soul met with beings whose names you've forgotten, but whose presence still walks with you through dreams, intuition, synchronicity. They weren't there to command you. They were there to help you see clearly. Together, you reviewed the lives you've lived before, the progress you made, the wounds that remained, the lessons you still long to master. You looked at the human world, this wild, chaotic, sacred world, and said, "Send me in." And that's when the contract was formed, a promise to come back, to forget just long enough to learn, to suffer just deeply enough to transform, to love again, even knowing it might break you, to make mistakes, even the ones you swore you'd never repeat, and most of all, to remember who you really are from the inside out. This wasn't karma, it wasn't punishment, it was purpose. Your soul chose this incarnation like an artist choosing a canvas, not because it would be easy, but because it would be worth it. So if you've ever wondered why this life, why these parents, why these battles, the answer is not in fate. It's in a contract, a hidden one, a holy one. And whether you remember signing it or not, you are living it right now. The moment you were born, you forgot everything. You forgot the counsel. You forgot the promises. You forgot the contract your soul wrote with full awareness and love. And that forgetfulness wasn't a flaw. It was the plan. Across ancient cultures and hidden teachings, there's one concept that shows up again and again: the veil. It's invisible, but it's everywhere. A soft curtain drawn over the memory of your soul's true origin. The moment you took your first breath, it wrapped around you, shielding your mind from what your spirit still knows. Why? Because remembering everything would defeat the purpose of being here. You see, Earth isn't a punishment. It's a proving ground. It's where souls come to grow muscles they can't develop in higher realms. Muscles like courage, forgiveness, humility, resilience, and love in the face of betrayal. And you can't fake those things. You can't simulate heartbreak. You can't mimic grief. You have to feel it, live it, get your heart shattered, and still choose to love again. But here's the paradox. Growth only happens when the soul forgets it's growing. If you remembered the full blueprint, if you knew the pain was planned, if you knew the villain in your story was a friend on the other side, would you still take it seriously? Would the lesson still land? The veil protects the authenticity of the experience. It allows the drama of life to unfold as if it were real, so your soul can evolve through actual feeling, not theoretical understanding. But there's more. The veil is not permanent. It thins over time. Certain moments in life, moments of stillness, trauma, wonder, or deep introspection, can tear tiny holes in that veil. And through those holes, memories leak. Déjà vu, dreams that feel more real than reality, an unexplained pull toward ancient truths, a feeling that you've been here before. These are not glitches, they are whispers. Whispers from the other side of the veil, calling you back to the truth you chose to forget, but were never meant to lose forever. And now, as you listen to this, maybe you're feeling it too, that soft pull toward remembering, not in your mind, but in your bones. Because when the veil begins to lift, your life starts to make sense in ways it never did before. Long before you arrived in this body, your soul made 7 promises, not to the universe, not to some divine judge, but to itself. These weren't casual wishes. They were soul-level commitments, blueprints written in energy. And whether you remember them or not, you've been living by them your entire life. Let's explore each one. First promise, I will remember eventually. The first and most sacred vow your soul made was this: even if I forget who I am, I will create conditions to remember. This promise is why spiritual awakening feels so familiar, like a homecoming, because at some point, no matter how far you wander, something inside you stirs and whispers, this isn't all there is. That whisper, it's your own voice, echoing forward in time. Second promise, I will grow through pain. No soul signs up for suffering out of cruelty. It chooses pain the way a sculptor chooses stone, because it wants to create something. Each heartbreak, each betrayal, each loss is the raw material of transformation. You promised yourself you wouldn't run from discomfort. You'd grow through it, and you have, more than you know. Third promise, I will love, even when it hurts. This world can be brutal, and yet you love. You form attachments. You open your heart, even knowing it might break. Why? Because love is the one force that can cut through illusion. It's the thread that connects all beings. And you promised, even if you forgot everything else, that you'd try to keep loving, even when it's messy, even when it's unreturned, even when it's goodbye. Fourth promise, I will heal a lineage. You didn't just come here for yourself. You came to break patterns, to face the shadows your ancestors couldn't, to stop cycles of trauma, silence, and shame. Every time you choose compassion over judgment, presence over avoidance, you heal not just yourself, but those who came before you. You carry the torch of many, and they are watching with reverence. Fifth promise, I will inspire change. There is something inside you that the world needs, a spark, a voice, an idea, a way of being, and you promised, in your own unique way, to ignite something in others. Maybe through your art, maybe through your parenting, maybe just by surviving what you survived and still being kind. That alone can ripple through generations. Sixth promise, I will face the shadow. We all carry a shadow, that part of us we pretend doesn't exist. But before birth, you made a bold vow. I will not avoid the darkness in me. I will meet it, learn from it, transform it. This is why the same patterns repeat until you confront them. It's why your deepest pain also holds your greatest insight. You didn't come here to be perfect. You came to be whole. Promise 7, I will return home. The final promise was simple. I will find my way back. Back to yourself, back to truth, back to that light beyond the veil. No matter how lost you feel, this promise pulls at you, gently, persistently. It shows up in moments of beauty, surrender, awe. It reminds you that this world is not your prison, it's your classroom. And when the lessons are complete, you'll go home, but not empty-handed. You'll carry every laugh, every scar, every breakthrough, not as burdens, but as badges, proof that you kept your word. And the soul never forgets a promise kept. Before your soul stepped into this world, it didn't come alone. There was a gathering, not in space, not in time, but in a realm where truth hums in the silence and wisdom has a face. This was the Circle of Counsel, a meeting between your soul and the ancient beings who've guided you across lifetimes. They are not gods. They are not masters over you. They are allies, witnesses, elders of light, and they know you deeply. They have seen your triumphs. They have wept with your failures. They have held your essence across lifetimes, never leaving your side. In this sacred place, surrounded by warmth and knowing, your soul laid out its deepest intentions, not just what you wanted to achieve, but who you wanted to become. The council listened. Then they showed you what would help you grow, what kind of body, what kind of family, what kinds of wounds would shape you, not to break you, but to open you. And you didn't just nod along. You chose. You asked questions. You voiced hesitation. You said things like, "That heartbreak feels too sharp. That lesson might take lifetimes. What if I forget too much and never wake up again?" And the council answered, not with promises of ease, but with truth. You will forget. You will fall, but you will also rise. And we will be with you every step. It wasn't a one-sided conversation. It was a collaboration, a soul-level negotiation between your infinite self and the guardians of your growth. They reminded you that pain would pass, that joy would come in fleeting but eternal moments, that every person you meet, every challenge, every love, every betrayal would be there by design. You even reviewed the roles others would play, the friend who would lift you, the enemy who would trigger your transformation, the stranger who would speak one sentence that stays with you for life. And then, with the plan drawn and the promises sealed, the council asked one final question. Are you ready? And with eyes full of tears and fire, your soul said, yes. You didn't just fall into this life. You stepped in with ancient witnesses watching, with your council surrounding you, cheering silently every time you listen to your intuition, every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose love over fear. And they're still with you, not out there, but within, waiting for you to remember that you're not alone and never have been. Look in the mirror. The body you see, your face, your hands, your voice, your scars, none of it is random. It's not a biological accident. It's not just DNA doing its job. It's a blueprint, one that you chose. Yes, before you were born, you selected the exact vehicle that would carry your soul through this lifetime. You saw your face before it formed. You observed the bloodline, the culture, the history, the unresolved trauma woven into it. And still you said, that's the one I need. Not because it would make life easy, but because it would make you ready. You chose your parents, even if they were absent, even if they hurt you, even if you've spent a lifetime healing from what they gave or failed to give. Because beneath the surface, their presence offered you something no one else could, a set of conditions, a spiritual terrain, a chance to develop the exact strengths your soul was seeking. Maybe it was learning resilience through chaos, or patience through neglect, or radical self-worth in the face of rejection. And what about your timing? You were born in a specific era for a reason, in a society that would challenge you in just the right ways. During a collective shift your soul wanted to be part of. You didn't just drop into history, you aimed for it. Even your birthplace holds meaning. The land, the language, the air you first breathed. These aren't footnotes, they're coordinates in a map your soul studied carefully. And then, there's the body itself. You chose the height, the tone, the strengths, the vulnerabilities, perhaps even the illnesses, if they would become catalysts for awakening. Every detail was selected not for aesthetics or comfort, but for evolution. Think about that the next time you criticize your body, the next time you resent your past, the next time you say, "Why me?" Because the answer isn't punishment, it's purpose. Your soul crafted a blueprint with the same care an architect gives to sacred temples, and then you stepped inside it. So when life feels unfair, remember this: it's not happening to you. It's happening according to you, not to shame yourself, but to remind yourself of the power you've always had. the power to choose, the power to shape, the power to return to the blueprint and live it fully. Not everything in your life was meant to be understood. Some things were meant to shock you, to shake you, to stir something ancient within you that logic can't explain. These are soul triggers, hidden reminders built into your life to help you wake up. You place them there yourself, like breadcrumbs through the forest of forgetfulness. A random book that changed your life, a stranger who said something that pierced your heart, a recurring dream that felt more real than waking life, a heartbreak that cracked you open in a way that nothing else could. These weren't accidents, they were alarms set long ago to go off exactly when you were ready. Because here's the truth, awakening doesn't usually happen through comfort. It happens through rupture. When the job collapses, when the relationship ends, when the illness comes, when everything you thought you were starts to fall apart, and underneath the rubble, you remember. You remember that you're not just a person chasing goals, you're a soul living out a promise. And something inside you says, this moment, it's familiar. I planned for this. Even beauty can be a soul trigger. That feeling when you stare at the stars and tears come without warning. When a piece of music makes you cry for reasons you can't name. When you visit a place for the first time and feel like you're home. These are messages, not from outside you, but from the deeper you, the part of you that never forgot. And the triggers don't just wake you up, they redirect you. A bad breakup might nudge you back toward your purpose. A quiet moment might remind you to stop chasing and start listening. A random insight might lead you to change the course of your life entirely. That's what soul triggers do. They don't come with explanations, they come with impact. And if you're watching this now, if your heart is pounding a little faster, if something unexplainable is rising in your chest, that too is a trigger, not planted by me, planted by you, because your soul knew you'd need reminders. And here they are, whispers, echoes, breadcrumbs, pointing you home. Awakening doesn't look the way most people think it does. It's not a beam of light from the sky. It's not angels singing in your living room. It doesn't come with a user manual or a guru's approval. No, it's much quieter than that, and far more disruptive. Awakening feels like the life you built no longer fits. The job you once loved begins to feel empty. The relationships you thought defined you start to crack. The routines that brought comfort suddenly feel like cages. You look around and ask, is this all there is? And beneath that question, something ancient stirs. The soul doesn't awaken all at once. It unfolds. Like a seed pushing through soil, it breaks things open so it can grow. You begin to feel things more deeply. You cry during conversations that once felt ordinary. You start questioning things everyone around you still accepts without thought. You feel alone, but more connected to everything than ever before. Colors look brighter, time moves differently, and something unshakable rises in your chest. A sense that you're here for a reason, even if you can't explain it yet. You stop chasing validation, you stop pretending, you start choosing differently, even when it costs you comfort. This is the moment the soul begins to remember, not through words, through feeling, through intuition, through a sudden clarity that seems to come from nowhere, and yet feels like it's always been there. You may not know your full mission, you may not have the map, but you finally realize there is one, and you're walking it. Every step, even the missteps, are part of something sacred. You're not late, you're not lost, you're awakening. And from this moment on, nothing will ever feel the same again. Awakening comes with a gift, but also a burden. It's the moment you realize you are not a victim of your life. You are the author. And that realization, though freeing, is also uncomfortable. Because it means that the pain you've endured, the people who hurt you, the setbacks that broke you, were all part of a script your soul helped write. Not because you deserved suffering, not because life is cruel, but because your soul was aiming for evolution, not ease. Responsibility doesn't mean blame, it means perspective. It means looking at your life, even the ugliest chapters, and saying, "What is this here to teach me?" Not as a mantra, but as a lens. You begin to understand that life is not happening to you. It's happening through you, and ultimately it's happening for you, toward you. Every difficult person, a mirror. Every repeated pattern, a message. Every emotional trigger, a signpost pointing toward a wound that's ready to be healed. It's not about spiritualizing abuse or denying injustice. It's about reclaiming your power from the story that says, "I'm helpless." Because you are not. You are not just the character in the story. You are the narrator, and even sometimes the editor. When you take responsibility at the soul level, something shifts. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" You stop trying to change the past and start transforming your relationship to it. And here's the magic. When you shift your lens, your life begins to shift with it. Opportunities emerge, healing accelerates, synchronicities multiply. It's as if the universe was just waiting for you to step into your authorship, to stop reciting someone else's script and start living the one you wrote before you were born. That's the mirror of responsibility. It doesn't flatter, but it liberates. Because the moment you truly see yourself as the architect of your experience, you stop building prisons and start building portals. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when remembering is no longer enough. You've seen behind the curtain. You've felt the truth stir in your bones. Now the question becomes, what will you do with it? Because awakening isn't just about insight. It's about alignment. It's not about knowing your soul has a purpose. It's about living like that purpose matters. Every day, this is the return to power, and it doesn't come with thunder or applause. It comes in small, fierce decisions, to leave the job that dims your light, to set boundaries that protect your peace, to follow the creative impulse that's been whispering to you for years, to forgive, not for them, but for the freedom it gives you. You stop outsourcing your power to systems, titles, or approval. You begin trusting your own resonance, that quiet, electric yes in your chest. And slowly, you start building a life that feels like home to your soul. Not perfect, not always easy, but true. You begin speaking differently, loving more honestly, taking risks you used to avoid, because now fear doesn't run the show. And no, you won't get it right all the time. You're still human, but now you're aware you can fall asleep again. We all do. But you'll always know how to wake yourself up. That's power, not domination, not control, but presence, choice, alignment with something deeper than logic, something older than fear. And the more you live from this place, the more life begins to meet you there. Doors open, the right people show up, resources appear. Why? Because the universe doesn't reward hustle. It responds to truth. And when you stand in yours fully and without apology, you become unstoppable. Not because everything gets easier, but because now everything has meaning. So here you are, not at the end, but at a beginning. You've remembered things no one taught you, felt truths no textbook could ever explain, heard echoes of promises your soul made before time began. You didn't imagine them. You didn't make them up. You remembered, and that changes everything. Because now you can no longer walk through life asleep. You can't keep pretending this is all random. You can't keep blaming the mirror when the image reflects your own hand. You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are unfolding, exactly as you planned. Every scar on your heart, a reminder that you were brave enough to feel. Every regret, a lesson your soul already reviewed and still chose to learn. Every yearning you've ever had to be more, no more, become something greater. That wasn't ego, that was memory. So what now? Now, you live like it matters. You live like your presence is medicine. You speak like your words shape reality, because they do. You choose with the awareness that your choices ripple across time. You walk through the world not as a victim, but as a keeper of a sacred contract, one only you can fulfill. And if this resonated with something deep inside you, If your body knows it's true, even if your mind is still catching up, then you're ready not to escape this world, but to engage it with your full presence. Your soul didn't come here to fit in. It came to light a fire, so light it. And if this message touched something you thought you had forgotten, then share it. Let it echo. Let it reach another soul who's ready to remember. Subscribe, reflect, return to yourself. Because the most important contract wasn't the one you made before you were born. It's the one you renew every single time you choose to wake up.